I dislike pay-to-win mechanics. I've made a whole video on this before. I dislike knowing anyone can pay real money for an in-game advantage. To me, one of the great elements of the video game world, especially the MMO world, is how it places everyone onto an equal starting point, and your power, reputation, and progression through the game is based off your time and skill in the game, and nothing else. Doesn't matter if you're wealthy or not in the real world. This is the game world, and you succeed on your in-game merits. It is the great equalizer. And because of that, in this video, I'm going to argue in favor of pay-to-win.
Is it though? Is there really something like a great equalizer? I don't know. I don't think so. You have people who spend more time in a game and people who spend less time in a game, and it will never be equal. Oh, well, let's look.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Strife, and what I've just said might sound a little bit strange, so allow me to explain. Pay to win is the idea that you can spend extra money in a game beyond the money you originally spent to purchase it to buy yourself in-game advantages. More money, more power, more items, more energy to play the game for longer. There are normally ways that you can achieve all of these premium things through playing the game itself, but that's normally a long and arduous process. You don't need to pay to win, but it is a huge advantage if you do pay. With that, I'm going to acknowledge the merits of an argument I disagree with and present, in good faith, 3 lessons, 3 standards, 3 specific arguments that I believe will paint pay to win in a positive system. This is the benefits of pay to win. Before we begin, consider dropping a like on the video or subscribing to the channel for more MMO stuff. Ring the bell so you get all the future notifications, and a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel going. More on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. First important element of the first argument in favour of the pay-to-win mechanic: the balance of real-life work value versus in-game time value. If the game has a method of allowing you to access any premium currency or premium content entirely within the game, such as earning Zen in Neverwinter by converting astral diamonds you earn through dungeons, or earning mounts in Runes of Magic by completing the daily Pyrrhus quests, or gaining membership within RuneScape by buying the bonds with in-game gold, then the game is actually giving you the ability to play the entire game for free, and if you enjoy the gameplay, this should be a fantastic feature for you. If you actively enjoy your time in the game, if it makes you happy, then the prospect of being able to unlock the game by playing it more should be a positive thing for you. If you're a fan of the game, then the ability to enjoy all of it through enjoying it is unlikely to bother you. But if a game sells you anything, a level boost, an item, a class, but it also gives you the option to earn it in-game, that's great. But then you need to balance out how much it costs against how long it would take you to earn in the game, and then factor in the average amount of money.
Yeah, that is exactly the problem. Most of those games today are designed around that factor, and they will ease you in to pay for something like experience boost or crafting boost or something. You won't even notice that most of the time. You would just want to spend it. I don't think it's a big deal, but are making it worse for you and everyone. Oh, it's pretty hard to react to something. Let's look further.
You could earn using that in-game time in the real world, because your time has value, and if you're choosing to grind an item out, you're often undervaluing your own time. Look at it like this: if an item exists in the cash shop and it costs £10, or you could earn it in roughly 10 hours of grind, the game is giving you a choice. Either pay £10 or spend 10 hours. The choice is yours, and you can choose what suits your lifestyle best. If you do spend the money, the item is now yours, and you've decided that your time is more valuable to you than your money. But if you spend the 10 hours getting it, you're actively saying that 10 hours of my time is worth a £10 item. You're valuing your own time at £1 an hour. World of Warcraft sells the Blizzard token, which can be sold on the auction house for gold, then the gold exchanged for items or equipment, or you can earn gold through playing the game. You can actively make the choice of the way you want to advance your character, spending your time or spending your money. Some people have more time, some people have more money. The game is giving you the choice. RuneScape sells the...
There's a problem with, for example, the WoW token. In theory, it sounds good. You can buy directly from the developer. You help them out and you don't go to gold sellers. The problem is with something like that, first of all, gold selling shouldn't be allowed in such a game, and even if you buy it directly from the developer, you run into the issue you will trash the economy pretty hard. And I mean, okay, in World of Warcraft especially, you can just grind stuff and create currency in the game, which is another problem in my opinion. But if you can just flat out buy it, creates too much issues. I mean, look in retail, for example, when you want to buy crafting resources or something like that, so you need so much gold. It's nuts. The economy is a joke. I think a lot of people sleep on that. Economy is really important factor in MMOs, especially think of it like that. You devalue your time. You can buy it, and the economy gets inflated more and more, and you have to put in more and more time so you can buy basic stuff. That's not good. It's not fun. I mean, I like to grind for stuff, but at a certain point you don't get enough. If it comes to a point that you think it's better to spend money in a game, then there's something wrong with the game, with the system at hand.
Bonds, which can be sold to players on the market board or auction house or grand exchange, and then you can buy some of the best items in the game. Neverwinter sells Zem, which converts to Astral Diamonds. Most major MMORPGs give you the choice of advancing with time or money. Now remember, most MMORPG players are focused on efficiency, the shortest amount of time to do something, finding a way to maximize the reward for the minimum amount of effort. It can often serve you better, time-wise, to work any job, even at minimum wage, and then simply buy the item or the power you want in the game. You would spend a lot less time doing that.
What's the point of the game then? When you just take another job to pay for the game? I mean, what's the point then? Why not spend your money elsewhere? Give it to a family member that needs it, or buy something for yourself. What's the point then? It's a bit strange.
The item is available for either time or money, and you get to actively choose what you spend to get it. So
yeah, that's true. You have the choice. That is true, 100%. It is a video game. Why would you have to make choice in the first place? I mean, if you want to do something in real life, then something in real life. I don't know. I really don't like that. I mean, getting more money, it's great. Go for it. But what does that have to do with a video game? It's really strange. Yeah.
Having the option to earn in-game items is great for people with excess free time, and having the ability to buy them is great for people with less time and more money. And this links to the second point, the fact that people's lives change. You can sometimes have less and less free time. Your job becomes more demanding. You start a family, move away from home, and you gain more responsibilities. Your gaming time reduces. A partner, a child, another hobby. More parts of your life now need more of your time, but your love and passion for the MMO doesn't decrease. But now you discover when you log on to play with your guilds or clan or friendship group, you're miles behind everyone else. They've got better items or stats or mounts, and you're falling so far behind you can't do the latest content with them. But thankfully, you can spend a bit extra and boost to join.
I fully understand that. And I don't want to take away from the thing like that. I really understand that. If you have people around you in the game, even if you have kids, family, and let's say you have 1 hour to spend in a game, why don't you do that with your guild partners then? Why don't they help you? I don't understand why that isn't the point. I mean, if you want to play solo, that's also fine. But then you have to realize you are playing solo and you don't have enough time to get where others are. Is that really a problem? I mean, you are playing the game, and when those games weren't designed with those systems, you would have fun, in my opinion. an MMO is not only about end game. It's a good part and an important part, but I think the journey to that is far more important. And I think also a lot of games seem to have forgotten that, because in an MMO, usually leveling is a chore, and it shouldn't be. Better example for that would be they changed a few months ago the leveling system in WoW, in World of Warcraft. And I don't know if you played that, maybe give it a try. It's quick and dirty, and I think it's a lot of fun. Before I didn't like it. It was really like a chore. Dragged on and on and on. You out-leveled so fast the zones, you couldn't really get the gist of the lore there if you are into it. Yeah, I think it shouldn't be a chore.
Level boosts, experience boosts, basic raiding armor sets, mounts, all of it in the cash shop. It's not a perfect solution, I get that. But with players demanding more and more content and more stuff to do, eventually you are going to fall behind unless you can dedicate hours every day to keeping up with your friends and guild. If I've got 5 hours free in a day or a week, I want to spend that time playing with this one here. Are you going to tell me that I need to stop playing with my dog in order to spend all of my free time catching up with an MMORPG, and then allows me to simply pay a bit of extra cash and catch up with all my guilds and all my friends?
Again, it shouldn't be about catching up. When I played in guilds and I had people, friends that were really busy in real life because they had a family and stuff, I would spend just time with them. I would play with them, I would help them get to the end game faster. I don't really see the need to skip it. I mean, if we would talk about just skipping and the game wouldn't be bogged down by those systems, we can have a discussion about that. But they value the time of the people who don't have much time as well. I think even more.
Are you going to look into his eyes and tell him that I can't play with him anymore? No more walks, no more playtime, because I've got to spend all my free time keeping up with an MMORPG? Are you going to tell him that?
No.
If you are,
you're
a monster. Right, good. That's the emotional manipulation segment done. You
get out of here.
Now. Another person's hobbies and the level they achieve in them are of no concern of yours, and if that person pays a little extra for a boost in that hobby to reach a certain level because they've been falling behind, they're often doing that to catch up with friends, and there's nothing wrong with that.
From a moral standpoint, that's totally fine, but you will get dragged down by those systems in play. It shouldn't have to be like that. And it wasn't in the past. I don't know, maybe we as gamers or MMO players should not all be about endgame. It's also a problem. I think it makes it even hard for new MMOs to come up because the endgame has to be so solid. Because that's the only focus on it. It shouldn't be. It should be... Imagine all the work that went into zones where you're just leveling through. So much art assets and so much time went into this. It's endgame is not 100% of the game. It isn't, and it shouldn't be.
Buttons on the side to make the MMO you play a bit easier to keymap. They're all just examples of how spending a little bit of money can sometimes help you catch up with people who have had more free time. So the first two main points are how items both in a cash shop and earnable in-game have both a time and a money cost, and you can choose which one you want to pay, choosing the one most worthwhile to you, and then how paying to advance can be a lifeline to people with busy lives who still want to enjoy an even playing field with friends, allowing them to condense the tens, or in most cases hundreds of hours of grind required.
Is it even playing field if you have to buy? Get to that point? I don't think so. That's even worse in my opinion.
to get to that level into a much shorter amount of time suited to their lifestyle. But the third element of pay to win is probably the most overlooked: your actual support of the game you love as a customer and as a fan. Because pay to win games are often free to play for everyone, and they can only remain free if someone pays. I've had no end of people tell me that they've played a game for 1 year, 2 years.
If they would stay free to play, yeah, fair enough. I mean, you kinda know what you're getting into. It shouldn't be there too, not like that. I mean, look at New World. That's not free to play. We have that now for a long time, that those systems that you want to spend more money to get further ahead or catch up, even in single player games, it's ridiculous. We shouldn't be fine with that. We are consumers. I mean, we can understand the situation or the points of developers. At which cost?
Years, 5 years, 10 years, however many years, and they've not paid a penny. They've managed to get everything for free. They haven't supported the game at all. They've beaten competitive players. They've beaten pay-to-win players. They have managed to gather all the power they need in the game through the virtue of just playing the game. And that sounds impressive, but let's spin that a different way, shall we? You have enjoyed a piece of art, a piece of media, a video game, for X amount of years, and you have not in any way supported its development or its continued life cycle. You are not supporting the art that you enjoy financially, and that's not something to boast about.
That is true. I have that mindset. If I play something what is free or which is free, and I spend a good chunk of my time in that, I want give the developers money for that. For example, I spent 40 hours in a game. Yeah, you get $40 or more depending on how long I will play it. Oh, I feel it's important to support people who worked for that, especially if you liked it and enjoyed it. I think that's really a problem. I mean, I also understand that people, that some people can't do that. I don't want to shame those people. I understand that. I get the point. I mean, you could argue that you gave them your time, which is also very precious, but I understand you can't pay somebody with someone else's time. You don't get food from that. I understand. It's fair.
You're going to say, oh, but I've played the game for hours. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You playing the game for hours doesn't keep the lights on, doesn't pay the bills, doesn't pay the developers to make more of the game. If you are proud of the fact you have not paid any money and yet you have enjoyed the game, then you are leeching their work.
Yeah, you should.
Imagine you owned a business, let's say a local gaming shop, and you see all the standard things: Warhammer, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! You have some weekly tournaments in various things and some events.
I know
You've got a decent customer base. Now imagine there's a large group of people who come into the shop and never ever spend anything ever. They love the shop and the atmosphere. They adore being here. It's their absolute favourite shop. It's their favourite place to be, but they refuse to spend any money ever. Sometimes they even win tournaments and you give them prizes, some models, some magic cards, maybe a can of drink from the fridge, and they love the free stuff, but they will not ever spend money. And they boast about this. They are proud of this. As a business owner, these are the customers you do not want. They don't support your shop, they don't support your business, and while they're happy to enjoy what you've built, they're not happy to continue supporting its continued development. They'll take what they can and give nothing back. These people are dedicated free players in a free game, and they can only enjoy the fantastic elements of a free game because some customers do pay.
Yeah, I get that too, as I said before. I think that's a valid point. You could argue though, if you are a really good sport and help others, really welcome the other customers, you could argue that you're helping that store have a better environment so people feel relaxed, they feel welcome there and want maybe to spend more money. You could argue as well with that as well.
some customers do support. We mentioned earlier how games sometimes give you the option of unlocking premium items with money or with in-game time. Well, the fact the game allows you to unlock items using time at all is a kindness the developers have extended to you. Your time in the game doesn't actively support the developers or the company. People don't look at you and go, "Oh, this person spent 6 hours. They are a valued customer," if you've spent nothing. And yet they still give you that option. If something is given to you for free, then you can decide how much it's worth to you. And if you decide it's worth nothing, then that's your choice. But if the game shuts down, you have only yourself to blame. And the only reason you are able to make that choice is because someone else has decided it's worth something. Pay to win is a system that allows you to enjoy some fantastic games completely for free because other people cover your cost.
We could also make an argument that if they weren't free, had a box price and a subscription, that those people wouldn't be around, so there wouldn't be the issue that there were people not spending money for that. Make that argument as well.
Benefits of pay-to-win systems. 1. If the item can be earned through both gameplay or directly purchased, the game is actually giving you the choice of what you'd rather spend, time or money, and you make the final choice. The power is in your hands. 2. Catch-up mechanics. Boosts, item sets, campaign completion tokens, or temporary power boosters allow people with busy lives to catch.
Also, this is not really a choice, because if you spend that money, you still have to invest your time as well. Basically, you paid twice with your time, because when you go out there and work, it takes your time. So you go in-game, spend for the money for those boosts, and still have to invest time, because if you wait, for example, you just don't get the items. I mean, if we talk about buying items from cash shop, okay, but even if you do something with your friends, it's still time you invest in. And again, if you have friends and they just screw around in endgame and they don't play with you or try to help you, then screw them. Why look for people that value your time and value you for you who you are, and they want to spend time with you. Don't really see why this should be.
With friends or guilds and play at the same level, instead of being forced to abandon a hobby they love just because they...
I understand if you're a solo player. I play a lot of solo too in MMOs, and I understand, but again, you are a solo player in an MMO. It's expected that you are slower in certain regards or can't get certain things, because MMOs are at their core social experience.
Can't put the hours in. And 3. A few paying players actually allow the rest of the player base to enjoy it for free. It allows the majority of players to enjoy the game without paying anything, because a few players support the game they love to a level they can afford. Pay to win, pay for advantage, pay for convenience. You may recoil at hearing those phrases, but remember,
a little bit, yes.
The reality is much more nuanced than that.
Of course.
It allows people to achieve things in the game with the resource they value the least. They can spend either time or money. The choice is in the player's hands. It allows people with less free time or more responsibilities to still keep up and to still enjoy the end game with their friends, their family, their guild. It allows them to see the best part of the game, even if they can't dedicate hundreds of hours to it. And it allows the game to remain free for everyone to play because of the contribution of these small few. Writing this script was interesting because very few things in this world are as simple as they seem, and the argument of pay to win is very complex. What do you think of pay to win systems? Do you despise them and think that in-game power should be earned exclusively through in-game effort? Or do they provide player choice and allow people with busy lives to still enjoy the game's higher power levels while remaining free to play for all? Let me know in the comments below. Another big thank you to all my supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel going. You can support the Patreon from just £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, and our Discord, and as always, have a great day.
I really like it. And back to the topic, I really think those systems weren't there in the first place, and I truly believe that those games would be much more fun and enjoyable if those systems weren't there. My opinion. Good video. If you disagree with him, please don't go and attack him. He really doesn't no one deserves. Take it easy, and maybe we will see each other. Bye.